Hey guys, I was recommended this video and it was called "This is the Perfect Headphone for You" by the Headphone Show. And the Headphone Show is a headphone retailer. They sell you anything and everything, and they have the stupidest opinions imaginable in audio. But I decided, gee, maybe they're copying me, where I have a website. I talk about the Endgame headphone that everybody should be using because it has the smoothest, best tuning, the most optimum tuning imaginable. And so I decided I'm going to listen to this 1 minute long video of what their best headphone could possibly be. Maybe they'll tell me. So let's listen.
By the end of this, I'm going to be recommending one headphone to you, and it's going to be exactly the headphone you're looking for. Let's get into it. Now, you might look at the length of this video and think, how in the world are you going to recommend the right headphone for all of us in this amount of time? Some of us want an open back, a closed back, different budgets, different sound signatures. Well, we're going to do it with a little bit of YouTube.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's open back or closed back or different sound signatures. We want to find what sounds the best, what has the least tonality problems, what's the most transparent, what's the best sounding. You know, people get caught up with all these different variables. Maybe, sound isolation is really that important to you that you would rather have something that sounds worse just so you don't hear ambient noise around you. I don't know.
But magic. Some cards are going to pop up on the screen you'll be able to click on, answering some of my questions. That'll lead you down another rabbit hole to more questions, and by the end, it'll take you all the way to the right headphone for you. The first thing we have to figure out is how much you want to spend. I have two options for you. Option one is everything under $400, and there's options down there that are like under $50, so $400 or less, all the way down to the super budget range is option one. Option two is everything that is $800 and over, all the way up into things that are like sky is the limit, no budget.
So $800 is way too much. Anything above $250 is a ripoff. They would have to be using some weird, planar magnetic electrostat technology with, tons of crap to try to justify that kind of price. If it's a dynamic driver headphone over $250, it's a ripoff.
So we're splitting it into those two, and we'll further divide it from there. Oh, and if you don't see cards on the screen, you can find the links in the description to go to the next video.
So we're going to go to the lower tier.
Next, we need to narrow down price a little bit further because, let's be honest, $400 less, it might be exactly what you're looking for, but you might want something a little bit cheaper than that. So option one is going to be $50 or less. It's going to be some of your super budget stuff. Very, very cool things still in that price point, but way more budget oriented. $200 or less is the next price category. And then the third category is $400 or less.
So again, anything above $250 is a complete ripoff. $400 is a ripoff. That's when they're going to start making it like out of metal and shit, or they're going to have to do something to justify $400. So we're going to do $200.
Okay, $200 or less. The question is, do you want an open back headphone or a closed back headphone? Open is going to be a bit more spacious. It is more open sounding. Open backs have lower acoustic impedance, so from head to head they're going to sound a little bit more consistent. People tend to just say that open backs are better sound quality, but closed backs can be really useful. Maybe you want to isolate from some noise in your house, like your washing machine or something like that running. Maybe you just want to be able to focus on your media more, or maybe you don't want other people to hear what you're listening to. If you have, family members around, you're listening at the office or something like that, you might want a closed back. And honestly, some closed backs are really good. So, open back or closed back?
So again, open back are actually really good. It's actually a very good benefit to be able to hear things around you. And the only real benefit to a closed back sound quality wise is it can typically trap in the deep sub bass, which is funny. He didn't even mention that, the dumbass. But usually closed back headphones will have a lot more deep sub bass rumble if the bass is emphasized, while open backs will roll off the sub bass. But We'll go with open backs because I know personally closed back headphones sound tonality wise worse the large majority of the time, which is kind of what he talked about.
Now we need to split this into a few camps of sound signatures. That's going to allow us to further break it down and find the sound that is right for you. So, For the first option, we're going to have 3 sound signatures. It's going to be your dark headphones, your warm headphones, and your neutral headphones. If you don't know what that means, I'll break it down in the next video. And the next option is going to be your bright headphones or your bassy/V-shaped headphones. Split it into those 2 separate camps, and then we'll further break it down once we get into each one.
So we don't want dark, we don't want warm, we don't want neutral, we want V-shaped. V-shaped is actually flat, so this is a misleading thing right here. Neutral, for a lot of people, he would probably say it's the HD 600s, even though they have analytical bass, which means it's not balanced, which means the bass is going to sound lifeless, and that doesn't sound like real life. That sounds, lethargic. Again, we don't want dark, we don't want warm, we want a open, clear, articulate, bright, sparkly, V-shaped, fun, engaging sound that honestly, V-shaped is flat. If you look at the ear sensitivity chart, it's V-shaped. It's got this big bass boost, it's got this upper mid ear gain scoop around 3K, it's got this treble bubble. These are all things that the human ear wants to hear, and that's the reason why V-shaped is even a thing. It's dynamic, it's amazing, it really gives life to the sound. So we want something that's
bright or bassy/V-shaped. So a bright headphone is a headphone that is mostly neutral, but the focus is going to be on the treble. It's going to have some extra treble up top, a little bit of spice added to your music. And a bassy/V-shaped headphone is a headphone that has a little bit of extra bass added on the low end and extra treble added on the high end, so the mid-range is a bit more recessed. Some bassy/V-shaped headphones are also a bit warm and then have some extra treble on top. But either way, a V-shaped headphone is just one that has extras on both ends, and the focus is not on the mid-range.
So again, V-shaped is typically what people actually want. If you go into your EQ presets, maybe you have some like Samsung Galaxy Buds Pros, like these things. If I go into the EQ settings that come with it and I select a dynamic, it'll increase the bass and the treble. And that you'll see a lot of people who review those are like, that dynamic EQ preset sounds really good, and that's why. But typically the human ear wants balanced bass, which is like a 10 decibel bass boost, and then they want like a diffuse field level treble, which is the brightest you would really want a headphone to be. So the bassiest and the brightest you would want it to be 10 decibel bass boost, diffuse field level treble, which is real world brightness, and then an ear gain scoop, so V-shaped. Again, that is actually, so he has the option for bright open or V-shaped, and bright open is just without that 10 decibel bass boost, so the bass will sound kind of thin and lifeless. It will sound analytical, sterile, clear, but you want to boost that bass so it sounds balanced and sounds like you're in this boom, 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 boom. When you hear an explosion, it'll rumble, for God's sake, stuff like that. It won't sound like the explosion is a mile away and hard to hear. It'll sound like, it's engaging. It's really there. You're in the room, So we're going to do V-shaped open, 200 or less.
V-shaped headphone, open under $200. I cannot believe that I'm going to recommend this headphone right now, but here we go. Beyerdynamic DT990. Oh, I said it. The Beyerdynamic DT990, if you want a headphone under $200 that's open back, they are well built. They do have comfortable pads, and they do have extra bass on one end and extra treble on the other end. It does fit the description. If that's what you're looking for, this is the right headphone for you.
So, there you go. The Beyerdynamic DT990 is recommended by DMS. If you want V-shaped, affordable, real price, not a rip-off, you want good sound, you get the DT990s. Yeah, boys. I'll see you guys later.